Jake's gonna look to throw the overhand right.
Very noticeable size.
Whoa! Get inside. Only punch after he.
Oh! The right hand, perfectly placed.
Oh, that's the one.
Now right hand. This may be it. Right hand, and he's down for a third time.
The jab set up the left hook.
And now wave it off. There is a new king of violence, and his name is Jake Paul.
Just a few hours ago, YouTube star Jake Paul took another win home as he continued his boxing career with a stoppage victory over Mike Perry, the former UFC fighter and current BKFC superstar, at the Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. Even though this fight was one of those most fans were interested in, there were some concerns when Paul chose Mike Perry as his opponent. Perry's reputation as a brutal bare knuckle fighting champion preceded him, and everyone around the sport believed this matchup was a serious risk for Paul. The concern was that Perry's aggressive style and proven toughness could be a serious threat to Paul's momentum and potentially jeopardize the much bigger fight with Tyson, something that nobody wanted to see since we don't expect Jake to make any excuses when he faces Tyson. Well, on that Saturday night, Paul proved the doubters wrong by battering Perry, resulting in 3 knockdowns and a 6th-round stoppage. Throughout the match, Paul landed clean, powerful punches with pinpoint accuracy. This relentless assault proved overwhelming for Perry, who is known for his toughness and ability to take a hit. However, Paul's technique and weight advantage allowed him to bypass Perry's defenses and deliver punches with significant force. Perry simply couldn't withstand the onslaught, highlighting the critical role of Paul's precise and powerful striking. And we can't just ignore that jab Jake kept throwing, or should we say landing. Throughout the fight, he used this simple punch not just as a measuring tool, but as a weapon in itself to cause damage to Perry, who at some point in the fight kept lowering his guard. And, let's be honest, lowering your guard when fighting a taller and stronger opponent is a big mistake. It's like giving yourself a free pass to knock out town. Anyone with any knowledge of fighting will surely take you down. And considering Mike Perry is a professional fighter, this didn't sit right with many fans, with a good number saying the fight was, well, rigged. In addition to his well-calculated jabs, Paul's punching strategy proved to be a key factor in his dominance. He didn't rely on a single weapon, but instead showcased a diverse arsenal of punches. He perfectly combined the jabs, hooks, and uppercuts, creating a constant combination that overwhelmed Perry. This variety kept Perry guessing and unable to establish a proper defense. Talk about surprise attacks, something even Perry himself admitted. But that's not all that Jake brought into the ring. Another interesting point that led to his point and a great performance was his exceptional physical conditioning. Throughout the fight, he maintained a remarkably high level of energy and intensity. He threw punches with consistent speed and power, seemingly not getting tired as the rounds progressed. This relentless pace contrasted sharply with Perry's condition. Despite his reputation for toughness, Perry began to visibly fatigue as the fight wore on. By the 6th round, his movement slowed, his punches lacked power, and his breathing grew labored. This decrease in stamina proved crucial for Paul, and for him, at this point, knocking Perry out for Paul was a piece of cake. Paul's ability to sustain his peak performance over multiple rounds allowed him to exploit Perry's weakening condition, ultimately leading to Perry's downfall. We can't be entirely surprised by Jake's performance. If you looked at his training videos, we at some point doubting if Perry will walk out of this one. Jake posted a series of videos showcasing what he had in the box, and when he got into the ring, he wasted no time showcasing his superior boxing skills. The bell rang, and Paul came out confidently. He wanted to win this fight. Right off the bat, within the first minute, Paul landed a strong right punch to Perry's body. Perry never saw it coming as Paul kept him distracted with his famous jab, and this set the tone for the entire match. Just look at it. Using his momentum, Paul wasted no time in pressing the advantage. He repeated the tactic that had been working throughout the fight, defensive offense. But this time, the setup was for a devastating blow. In a split second, Paul unleashed a powerful overhand right to Perry's head. The impact was undeniable. Perry fell to the canvas. The force of the punch and Perry's confused expression indicated that from that moment onwards, the fight belonged to Paul. Throughout the first round, Paul adopted a strategic approach, targeting Perry's body with well-placed punches that utilized his weight leverage. It appeared that Paul's motive was to weaken Perry with consistent body shots. These weren't just random blows. Paul focused on a specific area, likely aiming to exploit a weakness or limit Perry's movement while still staying elusive by moving around, as a defense mechanism against the straight movement fighter Perry. This is quite a change in Paul's fighting style, as we all knew Paul to be an aggressive fighter who didn't mind exchanging blows with opponents. But since his previous fight with Ben Askren, a seasoned MMA fighter, we've seen him practice patience, circling the opponent, and waiting for opportunities to strike. Paul's patience eventually paid off against Askren. He didn't rush, and when the chance came, he executed a flawless knockdown, sending Askren to the canvas. Since the fight with Askren, Paul seemed to have gained more experience in dealing with MMA fighters, judging by the way he maintained his deadly strikes while still being defensive while fighting Perry. While targeting Perry's body with dangerous combinations, Paul remained cautious and kept his distance from Perry, who is known for his aggressive, close-quarters fighting style. To counter this, Paul used his footwork to great effect. He constantly got close to Perry, delivered punches, and quickly got out of his reach. Talk about a hit-and-run strategy. Also, he constantly circled the ring, making himself a difficult target and frustrating Perry's attempts to get close and land his blows. Another knockdown came when Paul delivered another crushing right hand. Despite Perry's attempts to rally, walking forward and trying to turn the fight into a brawl, Paul maintained control. Paul's varied shots, and especially devastating jab, kept Perry at bay, hurting him again late in the fight to the point that Perry's face was bleeding within the third round. Within the fourth round, Paul's relentless strategy of punching Perry's face with jabs and targeting his solar plexus with sharp punches started to take its toll. Perry's movements grew noticeably slower, and fatigue seemed to be setting in. Sensing this weakness, Paul seized the opportunity. He unleashed a powerful hook that landed flush on Perry's head, followed up immediately with a stinging jab. The combination sent Perry reeling towards the ropes, his legs visibly unsteady. As soon as Paul recognized Perry's vulnerability, he delivered a vicious uppercut, followed by a combination of hooks. Perry instinctively tried to get away, but it was evident the blows had taken their toll. His guard lowered, exposing openings Paul was quick to exploit. A sharp left hook to the head hit Perry cleanly, followed by another uppercut and an aggressive combination of straight punches. This sent Perry staggering back towards the corner, his balance completely compromised. It was a dominant display of aggressive power punching from Paul, completely overwhelming Perry's defenses. At this point, we can bet that if the fight was not rigged, Perry was then regretting signing the fight contract. Paul, sensing a turning point in the fight, couldn't help but smile. He knew the relentless attack had taken its toll on Perry. As the rounds went on, Perry's physical state deteriorated rapidly. By the close of the fifth round, the constant wobble in his legs became a growing concern. Despite Perry's evident struggle, the fight was allowed to continue into the sixth round. It's like they all wanted to see the MMA fighter punished by a boxer. This round proved decisive for Paul. At this point, both fighters were bleeding from the brutal exchanges, but Paul wasn't finished yet. He unleashed a powerful right hand, followed by a vicious combination of punches thrown with clear, knockout intent. The impact sent Perry crashing to the canvas for the third time. It was a clear display of Paul's dominance and Perry's failing ability to withstand the onslaught. After the brutal fight, Paul acknowledged Perry's toughness, saying,
I truly believed I would put him out in the first round, but man, that guy is tough. He took damage like no one really I've ever seen before.
Perry, despite his loss, gave credit to Paul. "I was trying to roll with the punches and hit your ass back," Perry said to Paul. "You did a great job. You were way too fast for me, and I couldn't catch up. The kid hit me hard." After the fight with Perry, Paul then guaranteed the Tyson fight was a done deal in a press conference, expressing his readiness to challenge the former heavyweight champion, and then went ahead to call out Alex Pereira. Paul said,
Alex Pereira, you said you want to box. I'm the king of this. I'm the king of this. Come over. We can make it happen. I want you, Alex Pereira. Indeed, I just beat a BKFC champion. I beat multiple UFC champions, and he said he wants to box. So Alex Pereira, after Mike Tyson, let's make it happen.
With the anticipated bout between Jake Paul and former boxing champion Mike Tyson, who do you think will win the bout? Could Mike Tyson stop Paul's journey to the top to face Pereira? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one.